One afternoon in early December, a man and a woman greeted each other with a gentle hug in the middle of a crowded street. However, this was the first time the two had met in person. The two went to a bar, where they spent more than an hour together before going to another Mexican bar at 7:15 p.m. for more drinks, and another bar called the Bluestone Room around 8:30 p.m. At 8:54, they shared their first kiss as if to confirm their feelings. Right before the boy went to the bathroom, the girl picked up her phone and sent the last message of her life. "Everything is going great. We get along great." They left the bar, turned into a large hotel. The elevator opened. They both walked in, excited for the passionate night that was about to take place. However, when the elevator door closed, that was the last time anyone saw that beautiful girl. The next morning, the young man returned to the elevator. This time, he went alone. His eyes glanced at the camera, and there was a hint of panic. He went into a suitcase store. He tried on each one, measuring it carefully, as if he were looking for the perfect size for some object. Not long after, he appeared at another store, this time to buy detergent. Soon, the camera footage became more haunting. The young man was pulling a luggage cart. It was stacked with bags, and the most prominent was a large, dark suitcase, so heavy that it was impossible to lift it with one hand. What was inside that suitcase was a horrifying truth. The scary thing is, she wasn't the only girl. Just hours later, he was sitting in another bar, facing a strange woman, and perhaps preparing to carry out another horrific plan. A woman enters a hotel and never comes out. Another person doesn't know that she is sitting next to death. What will be the fate of both of them? Let's follow the security camera angles to expose this horrifying case. At 5:37 p.m. on December 1st, 2018, Grace Milan left her hostel to meet Jesse Campson after completing a backpacking trip from England to New Zealand. Jesse was at a nearby bar, downing a few beers before his date. When he left, there were at least 4 empty bottles left on the table, indicating that he had begun the encounter under the influence of alcohol and a lack of alertness. A seemingly small detail, but later became particularly suspicious. The two met at a popular, crowded location, which made Grace feel at ease when meeting her date for the first time. But that sense of safety was an illusion. Jesse had no intention of doing it in public. He waited until they were alone. Without hesitation, Grace agreed to go with him to a few other bars. And when they were a little drunk, they started to get closer. Perhaps Grace was excited at the prospect of being with the man she was beginning to have feelings for. Little did she know that just a few hours later, her life would end in the most horrifying way possible. The next morning, Grace's phone was buzzing with birthday messages, but no one responded. No one knew that Jesse had murdered the poor young girl that night, and now, he was trying to cover up all traces. He had to act quickly because he had scheduled another appointment. At 8:07 the next morning, Jesse was in downtown. He stopped at a store on Elliott Street and bought a suitcase, which he needed to hide Grace's body. He even carefully measured the width and depth to ensure a perfect fit, as if preparing for a predetermined plan. 25 minutes after purchasing the suitcase, Jesse went into another store, this time to buy detergent. He returned to the apartment for a few hours, then reappeared at 10:42 a.m., taking a taxi to Apex Car Rental to rent a car. But the real shock came in the next act. While Grace's body is still in the apartment, Jesse continues dating, this time with another girl from Tinder. He was wearing the same clothes he had worn the night before, possibly the same clothes he had worn at the crime. With all the tools at the ready, it is believed that Jesse was aiming for a second victim that very day. This date took place at a bar. What he said made the girl feel uneasy. It seems Jesse vaguely mentioned something about hiding the body, so the police wouldn't find it. The conversation ended quickly, and the young girl left. And from that point on, no one knew for sure what happened to her. At 8:56 p.m., Jesse returned to the apartment, carrying a carpet cleaner and 2 bottles of detergent. He intended to erase all traces of Grace's existence. About 30 minutes later, the camera captured Jesse entering the elevator, pushing a cart full of luggage. Featured is a large suitcase that is too heavy to carry by hand. Inside is a horrifying truth. Unable to walk across the street with that suitcase, Jesse loaded all the luggage into the rental car. He prepared the next step in his plan. Take Grace's body to a place where he believes no one will find it. At 7 o'clock the next morning, he bought another shovel. Returned to the apartment to pack clothes, have them dry cleaned, and destroy any further evidence. On the way, he conveniently threw a large bag of trash into a public trash can. Finally, he took the car to be washed, paying special attention to the trunk where the suitcase used to be. And then, Jesse disappeared as if he had never existed. During the next 2 days, Grace's family and friends lived in despair. The girl did not reply to messages, did not update her social media status, and did not answer her phone. On December 5th, Auckland police officially received a missing person report. Grace's father, David, immediately flew to New Zealand to plead for his daughter's safe return. The media at that time reported extensively on the mysterious disappearance of Grace Milan. Perhaps Jesse saw the video, Grace's father David desperately begging his daughter to come back. But he remained silent, no response, no sign of remorse. Meanwhile, Auckland police frantically retraced Grace's last steps. By extracting security cameras across the city, they discovered that the girl had met a strange man on that fateful day. After hours of combing through each video, they identified the last face seen with Grace and followed him to his apartment. At 3 o'clock p.m. on December 5th, police arrived at the City Life Hotel. As they entered the shop, they accidentally passed Jesse, who was walking towards the main door. Jesse thought that just staying calm and pretending like nothing was happening would help him escape. But that reaction is wrong. The alert officers immediately recognized the suspicious look on his face and restrained him on the spot before he could escape out the door. This should have been Jesse's turn to confess. He could be guilty of alcohol, drugs, and accidents and receive less serious consequences. But no, Jesse chose to lie. When he entered the interrogation room, he thought he could fool everyone. But he did not know that the police had almost all the evidence. Time, pictures, evidence, and rental history. The interrogation begins. Jesse appeared very calm, as the police were only asking about what happened before the night Grace went missing. But from the moment he opened his mouth, the police had set the trap. Now tell us about Grace. I spoke to Grace on Tinder. We matched on Friday. I confirmed that we were going on a date for Saturday, the next day, and then we met at Sky City. Then we decided to go to Andy's Burger Bar on the first floor. Not long after the interrogation began, Jesse let slip her first lie. He said that Grace was the one who took the initiative to ask him out on a date. But the reality is completely opposite. He was the one who relentlessly pursued the girl in the first text messages. And the police know it. Who suggested going to that burger place? It was me, because I knew. At first I didn't know if she was real or not. What do you mean? There are so many. So have you heard of cash phishing, fake profiles? Not yet. So cash phishing is when someone uses your profile, uses your picture, and pretends to be you, then meets you and becomes someone completely different. And on Tinder, it's all about your looks, and so if they use sexier photos, you're more likely to swipe right to match with them. Will meeting in public protect you from encountering a nasty person? Well, there's security there. So if she's not who she says she is, at least in my mind, he'll feel safe. When the police showed him evidence extracted from surveillance cameras, Jesse stubbornly denied the crime, pushing himself into the trap of lies he created. No, I go down Victoria Street, straight down the street, then turn left, and I go towards the viaduct. Did you go to the viaduct for a bit? You've taken a rather strange direction if you're planning on hitting the viaduct for a while. Well, that's the direction I usually go. I mean, I just wanted to say, like if you're going to the viaduct. I usually walk down Queen Street, then cross the end of Queen Street, past the containers, then walk along the pier. Is there any particular reason why you did that? I feel safer going that way. Police quickly realized that something was wrong. Jess's actions and words are completely contradictory. And when cornered, he began to show signs of panic. Just a few sharp questions were enough to make him lose control. We don't know if she was murdered. She could be alive and well, but she could also be dead, okay? And you could have done it. Hey, I just want to ask a question. Am I being arrested for something I didn't do? No, you're not under arrest, buddy. Jesse has not been arrested, but Auckland police are certain he is involved in Grace's disappearance. The deeper they investigate, the more evidence they find that Jesse is the one responsible for this. Not only was there surveillance camera footage, but the details of his suitcase and the toiletries he bought were also recorded on the surveillance camera. All of them were paid for with Grace's credit card. Even the extra night at the City Life Hotel was the same. It's likely that Jess's second date was also paid for by Grace. Another night in the hotel only gave him more time to clean up the crime scene. But erasing traces of blood is not that easy. When police searched the apartment, they found Grace's blood, credit card transactions, witness statements, the location of the phone, and surveillance footage all backed Jesse into a corner on December 7th. At his second interview, the police gave him no way out. And the final confession was finally made. The beginning of one of the strangest defenses ever heard in a courtroom. She started talking to me about the movie 50 Shades of Grey, a sexual fantasy that had just come out. We started making out. It was very normal at first. It was very, very gentle. And then she asked if we could do some bondage. And then all I remember is that I fell asleep in the bathroom. I need to stop. I need to go. Would you like some fresh air? Please. I was in shock and I didn't know what to do. I went downstairs and I don't know. I was staggering around and I couldn't believe what was happening. I was scared and panicking. I thought she was gone. I thought she was gone. Our specialists, pathologists, and doctors will perform the autopsy. They are very good at determining the cause of death of a person. Do you understand that? I went to the china shop and bought a bag of glasses. When I got back, I was really shocked that things didn't seem right. I left to buy toiletries. So I texted a friend and said, meet her at the Reverie. After a few drinks with her, I returned to city life. And the whole time after that, I kept saying, I'm sorry. Then I went downstairs to get the shelf. And I put the cup holder on that rack. I drove the rental car into Winston's garage and parked it. The next morning, I woke up around 5 a.m. First, I drove to Camus. I got a shovel from Idiom in Camus. Finally, I drove to the White Tacker's house. I went into the bushes. I dug a hole. I got my suitcase, and I filled the hole and drove away. Where are her assets? I threw them in the trash. Where? Trash bins in Arbert Park. So what of her belongings were dumped in Arbert Park? Everything, all her clothes, everything in the room. Where did you clean the car? The outside of the car? I think it was in Henderson. I don't know the west side very well. And what did you use on the car? A water gun from the car wash. Was she hurt? I don't remember. I was just panicking. Did you cause any injuries that caused her death? No. Did you kill Grace Milan? No. And you're under arrest for the murder of Grace Milan on or about December 2nd. Do you understand that? Did you intentionally cause her death? No. And not. Are you ready to take us to her? Yes. The media dubbed Jess's defense the courtroom version of 50 Shades of Grey, a legal maneuver that was both intriguing and infuriating. His argument is that two consenting adults can engage in risky sexual behavior, even if it may result in harm, as long as no one asks them to stop. If there was no sign of stopping, then this was just an accident, and so he should not be convicted of murder, but only of manslaughter. But this defense has long been seen as a last resort that lawyers use to help their clients escape punishment or at least reduce their sentences. And in the case of Grace Milan, it's impossible to erase what happened after her death, nor the cold, creepy series of actions Jesse committed afterward. From December 1st to 7th, police tracked Jesse's phone and Google account, discover search terms like best place to hide a body, what happens when you get arrested for murder, or how long does it take for a murder to decompose. He also took pictures of Grace's body before and after stuffing her into the suitcase. On December 9th, 2018, poor Grace's body was found in the Whitaker bush, west of Auckland. An autopsy confirmed she was strangled to death. Bruises on her arms and chest showed that she had been tied up. In New Zealand, there is no distinction between first and second-degree murder. Once convicted, the only sentence is life imprisonment. The issue is not whether Jesse intended it or not, but simply proving that he killed someone is enough to convict. Jesse claimed his innocence, but the jury didn't believe him. On February 21, 2020, Jesse Campson was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. But it didn't stop there. After the trial, two other women who had also met Jesse on Tinder came forward to accuse him of assaulting and raping them. He was convicted again and sentenced to an additional 11 years in prison. Grace Milan left England to explore the world, bringing with her an open heart and belief in good values. She thought it was just a normal date, but it turned out to be the last trip of her life. Grace was murdered by the man she had just met on Tinder. The one who just a few hours ago was laughing and talking as if nothing was dangerous. After committing the crime, he still went on a date with another girl, wearing the same old clothes and even saying creepy things. The girl left, and that instinct may have saved her life. The case of Grace Milan is a wake-up call about the fragility of trust and the risks lurking behind dating apps like Tinder. Not all are bad, but just one evil person can take your life. Thank you for watching today's video. If you find this content interesting, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the YouTube channel now. Goodbye and see you in the next videos.